Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astottara Sati Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistuki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 4, entitled Sati Kutsa Body, Text 25. So we'll do the word for word. Kritva Samanav Anilo Jitasana Sodhanam Utapya Cha Nabi Chakrata Shaner Ridi Stapya Diyorasi Stitam Kantad Bruvor Madhyam Anindithanayat Kritva Samana Vanilojitasana Sodanam Utapya Cha Nabi Chakrata Gata Shane Ridi Stapya Diyorashistitam Kantad Pruvo Madhyam Anindithanayat. Kritva samanav anilo jitasana Shodanam utapya cha nabi chakrata Shane ridistapya diyorashistitam Kantad bruvor madhyam aninditanayat Kritva samanav anilojitasana Sodana mutapya janabi chakrata Shaneri stapya diyorashistitam Kantad bruvo madhyam aninditanayat Matajis. A word for word translation. Kritva, after placing. Samano, in equilibrium. Anilo, the prana and apana airs. Jita shana, having controlled the sitting posture. Sa sati, udanam, the life air. Utapya, raising. Cha, and Nabi chakrata, at the circle in the navel. Shaner, gradually. Riddhi, in the heart. Stapya, placing. Dhiya, with the intelligence. Urasi towards the pulmonary passage. Stitam having been placed. Kantat through the throat. Bhruvo of the eyebrows. Madhyam in the middle. Anindita the blameless. Sati Anayat raised. Translation. First of all, she sat in the required sitting posture, and then she carried the life way upwards and placed it in the position of equilibrium near the navel. Then she raised her life way, mixed with intelligence, to the heart, and then gradually towards the pulmonary passage, and from there to between her eyebrows. Please repeat. First of all, she sat in the required sitting posture, and then she carried the life air upwards and placed it in the position of the equilibrium near the navel. She then raised her life air, mixed with intelligence, to the heart, and then gradually towards the pulmonary passage, and from there to between her eyebrows. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. The yogic process is to control the air passing within the body in different places called Sat Chakra, the 6 circles of air circulation. The air is raised from the abdomen to the navel, from the navel to the heart, from the heart to the throat, from the throat to between the eyebrows, and from between the eyebrows to the top of the cerebrum. That is the sum and substance of practicing yoga. Before practicing the real yoga system, one has to practice the sitting postures, because this helps in the breathing exercises which control the airs going upwards and downwards. This is a great technique which one has to practice to attain the highest perfectional stage of yoga. But such practice is not meant for this age. No one in this age can attain the perfectional stage of such yoga. But people indulge in practicing sitting postures, which is more or less a gymnastic process. By such bodily gymnastics, one may develop good circulation and may therefore keep one's body fit. But if one simply restricts oneself to that gymnastic process, one cannot attain the highest perfectional stage. The yoga process, as described in the Keshava Shruti, prescribes how one can control his living force according to his desire and transmigrate from one body to another or from one place to another. In other words, yoga practice is not meant to keep the body fit. Any transcendental process of spiritual realization automatically helps one keep the body fit, for it is the spirit soul that keeps the body always fresh. As soon as the spirit soul is out of the body, the material body immediately begins to decompose. Any spiritual process keeps the body fit without separate endeavor. But if one takes it that the ultimate aim of yoga is to maintain the body, then he is mistaken. The real perfection of yoga is elevation of the soul to a high position, or the liberation of the soul from material entanglement. Some yogis try to elevate the soul to higher planetary systems, where the standard of life is different from that of this planet, and where the material comforts, lifespan and other facilities for self-realization are greater. And some yogis endeavor to elevate the soul to the spiritual world, the spiritual Vaikuntha planets. The Bhakti Yoga process directly elevates the soul to the spiritual planets, where life is eternal, eternally blissful and full of knowledge. Therefore, Bhakti Yoga is considered to be the greatest of all yoga systems. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurul Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sahagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Satadevi Pranamami Hari Priye. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pabhinebhyo Vaishnavbhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 4, Text 25, Intelligence. Text 25. First of all, she sat in the required sitting posture, and then she carried the life air upwards and placed it in the position of equilibrium near the navel. Then she raised her life air, mixed with intelligence to the heart, and then gradually towards the pulmonary passage, and from there to between her eyebrows. So Srila Prabhupada gives a very wonderful and instructive purport. This system that is now being practiced by Sati, who is preparing to leave her body, is authorized and bona fide. And Prabhupada gives a description in the first part of the purport. And even mentions that by practicing this, one can attain the highest perfectional stage of yoga practice. And he also says that by practicing this, we can actually maintain good health. But then he says that this process is not practical, or it's not required for this age. So we can understand whatever Prabhupada is saying in his purports about the other spiritual practices are originally bona fide in the Vedic scriptures. As we understand from his name, Srila Prabhupada's name, Bhakti Vedanta. Bhakti is devotional service, and Vedanta means one who knows the conclusion of the Vedas. Veda Anta. Anta means at the end or the conclusion. So whatever Prabhupada is saying about the other spiritual practices, it's also bona fide within the Vedas because he knows all the Vedas. Therefore he is saying in this purport, he gives the full description of this yoga system. But then he says, this is a great technique which one has to practice to attain the highest perfectional stage of yoga. But such practice is not meant for this age. So we should take that as the final instruction. For this age of Kali, if we understand Prabhupada's position, that he has come to set the spiritual process for us who are following after him. We'll find Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, like he recommended, 64 rounds a day. But Srila Prabhupada recommended 16. So this is the yoga dharma, is to chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra a day and follow the regulative principles. So Prabhupada, ultimately he says, the bhakti yoga process directly elevates the soul to the spiritual planets, where life is eternally blissful and full of knowledge. Therefore, bhakti yoga is considered to be the greatest of all yoga systems. To simply understand bhakti yoga, bhakti means devotional service. It doesn't mean only devotion. Bhakti yoga means devotional service, which ultimately means practical activity. So there are many examples we find in the Shastra and Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, of devotees who have practiced bhakti yoga. And also recently in our Guru Parampara, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and the previous Acharyas, we see how intensely they performed bhakti yoga. So today I'm just going to speak a little about one devotee that I was fortunate to come in contact with in this lifetime, and from the very beginning of my coming into Krishna consciousness. When I was thinking more of his life, and I could see now that we're reading of all the great activities in bhakti yoga of the different devotees, and so also of the transcendental personalities in the Shastras. He had such similar qualities. I'm speaking of His Grace Lakshmi Nath Prabhu, who recently left us, and he's gone back to Krishna, or he's in Krishna's hands, or Krishna has placed him as another member in another general in his army. I was fortunate to first meet Lakshmi Nath Prabhu in the late 90s, maybe 97, 98, in the Verulam market. Verulam is my hometown. And every Saturday we used to go to the market to get our fresh produce, and then go to the supermarket and get whatever we wanted. And then Saturday was like the shopping day, especially in the morning. So in the Verulam market, I noticed, I've seen Lakshmi Nath Prabhu a few times because I used to come for Sunday Love Feast and festivals. And so anyway, I went up. He was parked in his bakki. This was about maybe 6 in the morning. And I went, so I don't know, there's a Hare Krishna devotee, and I knew him. So I went and I greeted him, I gave him a little donation. And I remember so vividly, he gave me a sweet, and which I took to my mom and we shared it. And then only when I came to live at the temple, I realized it was most likely a Mangal sweet or all-day sweet, a Maha sweet. So I remember clearly, we just greeted each other. I gave him a little donation, and then he gave me a sweet, and then we said Hare Krishna, and then I came back. And only when I came in 2011 to live at the temple, then I began to get to know Lakshminath Prabhu a little better. So this was my first meeting with him, and then immediately, now that I think about it, he was always ready to share Krishna consciousness in whatever way with someone else from the very beginning, even if he knew you personally or he didn't. Just by his presence, people were looking at him. Oh, there's a Hare Krishna devotee. So this is Bhakti Yoga. You practice and you share it with others. So around, I can't remember, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I was asked to drive a team of book distributors, His Grace Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, Padita Pavan Nitai Prabhu, and Shonaka Muni Prabhu, to the Grahamstown Festival. And I heard it's a big festival for university students, because Grahamstown is a university town. I think one of the biggest university campuses, Rhodes University, is situated there. And so I drove, and Lakshminath Prabhu, he also came. He was our cook. So the book distributors will go and meet the students and give them books and things like that. And my book distribution was going to the shops. There's a few, like a small CBD area, Central Business District area. And I would go to the shops and tell them, okay, we are visiting, we are attending the festival, and we want to go out to one area and feed people. So I would ask people for donations, and I would give them books. So there's one area in Grahamstown, just like on the outskirts. I wouldn't say it was like a squatter camp like what we see over here, but it was a low-cost housing scheme, RDP houses or whatever they call them. So Lakshminath Prabhu, so I was fortunate to meet a few shopkeepers who gave us boga. So I took him one morning and I went, and I told him, hey, there's some people, like they own a shop and they want to donate. So he said, okay, we'll go there. And we drove there and they gave us boga. So he cooked biryani and he packed it, and then I went with him to this area. They call it Sun City. But it was such a poor area. You could see how the children were unkept, and the behavior wasn't good. And then you could see the normal situation of poverty. And so we went, and immediately when he began to announce, free meals, and soon we had about 50 or up to 100 children, just coming and taking the prasadam. So that was so nice to experience that, collecting the boga, helping Prabhu to cook, and going out with him and serving. But I could see he had so much experience in doing this. He knew exactly how people would behave. And then on another day we went to another area, and then we came across another welfare organization. They were quite big. They came with a big ton, like a horse and trailer. They had a container, and they were giving out grocery items and clothing. But the main, this organization is called the Gift of the Givers organization, which is quite big in South Africa. And the driver of that truck, he came up and he thanked us so much. He said, thank you for coming. And I was wondering why. Then he told me, he said, please, your guys come, immediately you'll give out food which the people can eat. Immediately they can have something to eat. But we are giving out groceries and clothing. They'll have to take the groceries home, cook it, and then eat. But your guys, and we were in Lakshminath Prabhu's van, and they were in a big truck. But the driver, he came out, I remember clearly, and he spoke to me, he says, thank you so much for coming. At least now these people come, they can also get something to eat immediately. So in this way, I could also see how Lakshminath Prabhu, he just knew where to go. He knew, the situation of the people. So another situation was in Richards Bay. Maybe that same year during the December book marathon, I was asked to drive again the same book distributor. So we went to Richards Bay. We arranged to live at a lodge. and Lakshminath Prabhu came as well, and he was the cook. So he would cook every day, breakfast, we would go out and then come back in the afternoon, take prasadam and then go out again. So again I went to the local supermarket or shop in that area, and I spoke to the lady who owned it, and she said, yeah, you're most welcome, you can stand outside and you can meet people, you can distribute your books. So I was very thankful because it was like my first time in Richards Bay, and I went and I was meeting people and they were taking books. So one day Lakshminath Prabhu, he prepared halwa, beautiful like a brown halwa, and I was thinking, hey, where he got the ingredients from? You need butter and things like it was quite expensive. So anyway, I told him, no, I want to take some for the lady in the shop. He said, yeah, take a few. And I went and I spoke to this lady. I said, there's some prasadam, some soji, she called it. And she took it, and I said, I told her, thank you for allowing us to stand outside. She said, fine, no problem, you can come every day. So last year, I spent 8 months in Richards Bay. And when I got there in March, the first person I went to see was this lady at the supermarket. It's in an area called Brackenham, which is an Indian area. And she runs like what we may call a prayer shop. And all the Indians in Richards Bay will come to her at some point to that shop, where some of them lived in the more upmarket area along the beach. They would all at some point come to this supermarket to get the prayer goods, and during the fasting time they would get whatever they needed for their prayers and things like that. So I went back, and this was like after 5 years, I asked this lady, she's still there. I told her, you may not remember me, but I came here about 5 years ago and you allowed me to stand outside your supermarket. And she says, yes, I remember you. You brought the soji, the halwa, and it was so tasty. So I'm thinking 5 years ago, this lady received Lakshminath Prabhu's mercy in the form of this soji, of this halwa, and she remembered it, and she remembered how tasty it was. And then she told me, no, you can continue, you can come here and stand outside and speak to people and distribute books. So this is the result of someone who practices bhakti yoga. You would have that potency to share Krishna consciousness with others. It's easy to cook and go out and distribute books. We can do it superficially. We can do it for name and fame. In the mornings our name will be read out for the transcendental pleasure of Shri Shri Radha Radhanath. Bulva Mangala Prabhu distributed 100 Mahabig books. But it comes much deeper to really share Krishna consciousness with others. And this is the realization when I've been looking over and thinking of Lakshminath Prabhu over the last few weeks. He was such an advanced devotee. He had so much realization to do exactly what he did. And many times I've been out with him to the different university campuses in Durban, and he had a free lunchtime meal. And he would chastise me because I was slow, and hey, Prabhu, quick, the students are coming. And many times I learnt many things by observing Lakshminath Prabhu. And also I received many verbal instructions from him as well. So I could understand that here's someone who knew exactly what to do, how to do it. And then as we read, it comes much more deeper with the practice of bhakti yoga. Then you'll be able to have that confidence and then know how to do things and how to attract people. Sometimes some leftover prasadam is kept and left, and then we keep it under a tree or somewhere in the yard, and immediately the birds would come and they would eat it. So Lakshminath Prabhu, in this way, he knew where to go to get, as they say, customers for the prasadam. So, but what we can understand is that he practiced, and that made him strong. That made him, gave him a good solid foundation in which to do what he could do. I was fortunate to meet his elder brother, at the third day service that we had here at the temple, and we were speaking at the book table. And I told him he was a unique person, and he had this determination to share Krishna consciousness with others, and to see, especially when he distributed prasadam, he was so happy to see the children smiling, although they were like misbehaved, and they would fight with each other just to come in the front and collect the prasadam. But still he was happy to see them happy. So this is bhakti yoga, and it comes again by our practice of bhakti yoga, that we will be able to, when we try to distribute Krishna consciousness in whatever way, through chanting the Mahamantra, to prasadam distribution, to book distribution, or simply giving our association with others, it's by our practice that we'll be able to effect some change in others. That is the ultimate goal, is how much people can become happy when they see you. In this way, we'll make them favorable to Krishna consciousness. So, Prabhupada states in this purport that ultimately, bhakti yoga is considered to be the highest of all yoga systems. And we have to just continue the process that Prabhupada has given us to really understand the purport of bhakti yoga. Externally, we understand bhakti, devotional service, and yoga means to link with the Supreme, to link with Lord Krishna. So there are many examples. I just thought of my association with Lakshminath Prabhu, and these are the things that I will remember for the rest of my life. And hopefully someday I'll be able to practice the way he did. Although we never saw him much, practicing, but most we can understand by his activities that probably he was getting up in the morning, 1, 2 o'clock. Of course I knew, because sometimes I would make the Mangal sweets and I would go in the morning and I'll see him walking around at like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and checking on the security guards and waking them up and things like that. So he had such a deep realization of protecting Shri Radhanath property and things like that. Hare Krishna. So we'll stop there and you can comment and add on to the class. Let's get the mic.
Hare Krishna. I'm so grateful you spoke about Lakshminath Prabhu, because for the third day ceremony I wasn't in Durban, and just one thing I was thinking about him is that there probably isn't another soul, another devotee in our entire yatra who's had more one-on-one contact with people on a daily basis. If you just accumulate it and add it all up, he was meeting hundreds of people on a daily basis and on a grassroots level, I mean, we have many gurus and disciples, etc., but from a grassroots level, I can't see it, that there was any other person who did that much contact for that amount of time. When I put a message on the student group when he left, I just posted a picture and said, you may remember this friendly face, and that he had left. And it was people who they never came to our programs, we saw them. It's like the group has hundreds of students and only a few ever come. But so many had known him, so many recognized the face, so many sent good wishes, and because the tenacity that he had to serve in that way, it was like a self-burning flame. No one had to say, Lakshminath, go to your service, or you didn't fulfill the roster. It was just like that enthusiasm was infectious. And I'm just thinking, for such a person, what Lord Chaitanya would not do. how amazing it would be to be able to know where he is now and how all that service has fructified. So thank you.
Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.